So Dominion Voting Systems is suing both Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell for $1.3 billion each. Let's talk about it. Hey, my name is Nathan Lawyer, and welcome to the Brody's Bunch, where you are the joy of the day's content. If you haven't already, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel if you like what you hear. So today we're talking about Dominion Voting Machine Systems. Now, Dominion Voting Machine Systems is the leading company when it comes to electronic voting here in the United States. Now, Dominion Voting Systems is in over 20 states, and it's not like they've had a perfect history. Matter of fact, it's very interesting in doing research for this particular video. I found it real interesting that the mainstream media had some real issues with Dominion voting before the election. Check this out.
Protecting the voting process from outside interference is a high priority this election season. In his latest report, Miles O'Brien looks at some of the latest technology being used in Georgia and whether it provides a stronger defense against tampering than the traditional paper ballot.
But election security experts working for the plaintiffs in the lawsuit against the state have uncovered several troubling issues. Alex Halderman looked closely at the QR codes where the votes are encoded for the scanner.
By analyzing the structure of the QR codes, I've been able to learn that there's nothing that stops an attacker from just duplicating one. And the duplicate would count the same as the original barcode.
And in late September, another concern came to light. During testing, election workers found half the names of the 21 candidates for Senate intermittently disappeared from screens during the review phase. Dominion sent out a last-minute software patch.
I'm worried that the Georgia system is the technical equivalent to the 737 MAX. They've just made a last-minute software change that might well have unintended consequences and cause even more severe problems on Election Day.
You never want to rush something which is mission critical, and this is mission critical, into production without proper time of testing. That's really one of the ways bad actors are finding the vulnerabilities to exploit, is looking for honest vulnerabilities and finding out if they can be weaponized, if they can be exploited.
Despite all the concerns, federal judge Amy Totenberg decided to let the election proceed with the ballot marking device system.
So before the election, it's not like no one was saying that there were any problems with Dominion voting machines. PBS is saying it. Now, I know a couple of you may be shocked, like, oh my God, they were saying this before the election happened, right? That Dominion voting machines had problems. And this wasn't from some right-wing conspiracy theorists. This is from PBS. Now, PBS did a whole series on how bad Dominion voting machines and the possible problems with the election. Those links are in the description, so you don't have to trust me. Go look at the coverage yourself. And again, remember, it was before the election. But Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani took things to the next level. They seemingly made things up. Now, some would say to strengthen their case against Dominion to prove that President Trump actually won the election. Now, they made so many false statements, it's hard to keep track of how many there were. If you want to read all like 300 pages of the lawsuit, you can read that. But here's famed attorney Robert Barnes. He'll lay it out in 2 minutes.
Easily provable ones. She claims that Dominion was foreign owned. False. Claims that Dominion owned Smartmatic. False. Claims that Dominion was involved in the Venezuelan election. False. Claims that Dominion sent information overseas related to the election and election server votes. False. Claims that Dominion servers were seized in Germany. False. She has a bunch of easily provable, or Dominion does, a bunch of easily provable, factually false statements that they can show a reasonably diligent person would have figured out. So, they have her dead to rights on a bunch of claims. So, I said a month ago, she's being set up to be bankrupted. And by the way, defamation, bankruptcy is not a protection from defamation. You can't even bankrupt your way out of it in the United States. So she's bust. And then they'll disbar her based on the outcome of the civil suit.
Now, because Dominion had both Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell on record making false statements that are verifiably false, Dominion had another problem, and that's the actual malice standard. Now, Actual malice means Dominion, along with proving these statements were false, would also have to prove that both Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell knew the statements were false and still said them anyway. Right? It's an extremely high standard because this is a matter of public concern. It's a presidential election. So obviously, as a high matter of public concern, the court's going to say, well, you need to show that Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell either knew these statements were fake or recklessly disregarded the truth, which is a really, really high standard. So before Dominion filed this lawsuit, you know what they did? They sent both Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell letters outlining why all this stuff that they're saying was fake. They even showed how Sidney Powell had doctored some of the documents that she was using in some of her lawsuits. They even showed how some of Sidney Powell's witnesses recanted. They even showed how Rudy Giuliani was saying this on his own podcast while he was trying to sell products. And they sent them these letters saying, all these things are false. Here's all the proof why they are false. And we need you to stop saying them and recant these statements. Now, both Sidney and Rudy got the letters. And you know what they said? No. And they doubled down on what they were saying about Dominion Software. Now, Dominion Software, for instance, also sent this letter to Newsmax. And this is how Newsmax responded.
Since Election Day, various guests, attorneys, and elected officials have appeared on Newsmax and offered opinions and claims about Smartmatic and Dominion Systems, both companies that offer voting software in the U.S., and Newsmax would like to clarify its news coverage and note that it has not reported as true certain claims made about these companies. There are several facts our viewers and readers should be aware of. Newsmax has found no evidence that either Dominion or Smartmatic owns the other or has any business association with each other. We have no evidence that Dominion uses Smartmatic software or vice versa. No evidence has been offered that Dominion or Smartmatic used software or reprogrammed software that manipulated votes in the 2020 election. Smartmatic has stated that its software was only used in the 2020 election in Los Angeles, was not used in any battleground state contested by the Trump campaign. Newsmax has no evidence to the contrary. Dominion has stated the company has no ownership relationship with the Pelosi family, the Feinstein family, the Clinton family, Hugo Chavez, or the government of Venezuela. Neither Dominion nor Smartmatic has any relationship with George Soros. Smartmatic is a U.S. company and not owned by the Venezuelan government, Hugo Chavez, or any foreign official or entity. Smartmatic states that it has no operations in Venezuela. While the company did election projects in Venezuela from 2004 to 2017, it states it was never founded by Hugo Chavez, nor did it have a corrupt relationship with him or the Venezuelan government. For more on this, please go to our website at newsmax.com. Read facts about Dominion Smartmatic that you should know.
So at the end of the day, Newsmax recanted and are not being sued because no actual malice. And Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell doubled down and continued to say the statements. So now that allows Dominion to now sue, saying, well, not only did they know, we know they know for sure because we told them and outlined it all. But what do you think? Do you think Dominion has a strong case for defamation? Again, the only thing they have to prove is that these statements are false because Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani were saying they committed crimes. So this is defamation per se. A lot easier to prove. Or do you think this is a nothing burger and it's probably going to be dismissed? Let me know in the comment section how you feel the case should go. And my name is Nate, lawyer and YouTuber, and I'm out. Peace.